What's up, Internet? Corey Zamir here, back for the first time with a question and answer video. Been wanting to do one of these pretty much ever since I started YouTube. I always enjoy watching them. I have 7 questions to answer for this video. So let's get right into it. The first one I have is from a Mr. Sam Slam 05. That's Sam from the flea market, and he asks, sup Corey, why, I'm just going to read these directly, why so you say, keep it real internet, at the end of every video? I don't know if I have a logical reason. I know a lot of people have, sign-offs that they do at the end of every video. I don't even remember when I started doing this. I think I started saying it because I used to also put, at the beginning of every video, when I'd say my name, I'd pause, and then I'd have a sound clip from Obi Trice saying, real name, no gimmicks. And I kind of stopped using that out of, I don't know, laziness, or maybe I thought I outgrew it a little bit. I might bring it back now that I'm going to be doing a little bit more editing on Weekend Adventure and Video Game Hunting, my main series. I'd say it also stems from me using my real name on here. Being real with you is a really big thing to me. I try not to have like a internet persona. Like I know a lot of people probably are a little bit different on their videos than they are in real person or in real life. And I've actually considered doing more videos with other people, but I always kind of feel like they might play it up for the internet. So I always thought it would be like kind of weird if I'm just being myself and someone's like overacting for the internet or trying to be funny. Although I do kind of have an idea that I want to run past you, especially everybody that knows me in real life, if they'd be interested in doing this. And I don't even know the name of like the series I'd like to do. I was thinking something like more along the lines of like Real Talk with Corey Zamir, which is probably taken, minus my last, minus my name. Kind of like not a podcast, because I don't even know how to fucking put one of those together, but more like a video, like short, 10, 15 minute videos where we just talk on a subject, sit down, both on camera, have a conversation about like video games, collecting, something like that. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I guess I'll move on to the next question. Darul 514 asks, your underrated JRPG on Wii, GameCube, DS, and 3DS. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't think I even own any JRPGs on the Wii. I don't have any of Operation Rainfall. I would like to get them eventually, but to be honest, if I got them, I probably wouldn't have the time to play them. So I couldn't really answer for the Wii. And for the GameCube, I've never played Tales of Symphonia. I've never played Skies of Arcadia. Like, I can't even think of many JRPGs on the GameCube, and I certainly don't own any of them. For the DS, though, I do have a definitive answer on the most underrated RPG. That would be Suikoden Tier Chris. Now, this is probably my favorite handheld RPG, if you're not counting Final Fantasy Tactics on the PSP, because that's a console game that was ported. Like, this is a handheld RPG, and I probably beat this in the last 5 years. I can't remember when exactly, but I have like the same nostalgia for it, looking back on it, as I do for like Super Nintendo RPGs, playing all the PlayStation 1 RPGs back in the day. And it's probably the last good Suikoden experience that we're going to be getting, because Konami hasn't really continued the series at all since Suikoden 5, or actually, this one might have came out after Suikoden 5, and it was a great send-off to the series if it did. I'm not actually sure which one came out last. But do check it out. I'm not exactly sure how much it's worth. I haven't really looked it up because I got it when it launched. As for my favorite underrated JRPG on the 3DS, see, I don't really have one yet. I have, the only RPGs on the 3DS I've played, Pokemon X and Y. Definitely not underrated. You wouldn't be able to consider them that. And Mario and Luigi Dream Team, which I'm not the biggest fan of. I put in considerable effort to try and finish that game. I think I got like 8 or 10 hours into it. And the only thing I enjoyed was when they'd have Mario and Luigi talk and they'd be bibbity-bobbity booing back and forth. I haven't had a chance to delve into many 3DS RPGs. So I don't really have a better answer for you on that one. I'd like to get the time to, but to be honest, I don't have nearly enough time to play RPGs. I just imagine my retirement being me sitting in front of a TV playing all these old RPGs. Like all the PlayStation RPGs, all the Super Nintendo RPGs, and having the best retirement ever. Only like 40 years to go. Next question, actually next 3 questions, and I thank you very much for asking 3 questions just because I barely got any questions on this, come from Andrew Bellina. First question, how long have you been collecting? The short answer on that would easily be February of 2013. That's when I started dedicating like myself to collecting. That's also when I really started on YouTube. It kind of coincided with each other. Like I never like started collecting everything before I started YouTube. The long answer is I've been collecting forever. Just not always video games and not always everything. You know, not always NES, Super Nintendo, but I'd been collecting before. It's just kind of a habit I've had since a kid, and it always just like switches focus every few years. Like for instance, you know how everybody that had toys as a kid is always talking about like, oh, I wish I kept my old Ninja Turtle figures, I wish I kept this, I wish I kept that. I still have all that, it's just out in the shed. Like whenever I go out in the shed to clean out the shed, I end up seeing all my toys from my childhood, all my X-Men action figures, all my Star Wars action figures, all that shit I still have. So that's kind of cool. That's kind of also pathetic. But I guess my focus would always like kind of switch every few years. Like for a while I was playing Magic the Gathering, and I don't really it's a collectible card game or a trading card game or whatever they classify it as. But I don't really consider myself a collector of Magic. I certainly am not anymore because I sold out of that. But at the time I was more of a Magic player, but it was a collectible card game. And for a while there, and probably like my least favorite collection that I've ever had, I spent about $50 a week minimum ordering new anime on rightstuff.com. Because it was like they have new sales every week, and $50 and up had free shipping. So I was pretty bad about that. Like I had, like, you know where I keep my entire Nintendo collection to like the right of me? That used to be the top like the top 4 shelves were anime, and the bottom shelf was all manga. And I used to also go to Borders and Barnes & Noble and just buy like damn near like $60 worth of manga every time I'd go. But like I always, for the most part, I kept the majority of my PlayStation 1 collection when I had it, which in that sense, there are unfortunate games that I did trade in back in the day. Like, I used to have Tales of Destiny. I used to have Azure Dreams. I used to, because I think I've said it before, or maybe I haven't, so it's a good point to say it. There was a point where I used to try and buy every single RPG that was on the PlayStation 1, which led me into having Final Fantasy Tactics, which was awesome, but it also led me down the route of owning Grand Stream Saga for $40 when it came out, which, if you know anything about Grand Stream Saga, it's pretty bad. It's kind of like a game that wants to be Zelda, but it's just terrible instead. Yeah, so I'd say February 2013, and looking back on those videos, it's really, a lot's changed. Definitely don't have that much hair anymore. His next question, what is your favorite era of gaming? Easily the PlayStation 1, N64 era. Now, also as a kid, I used to be incredibly spoiled, and every time we would go to a store, a grocery store, Walmart, you know, any place like that that sold magazines, I would end up purchasing a video game magazine of any kind. Even for, like, shit I didn't have. Like, I'd get PC Gaming magazine, even though I never, aside from, like, Diablo 2, I never had any PC games. Just anything just to read more about video games. But games that were coming out, stuff like that. So I was really into, like, all video game magazines back then. And I'm kind of sad that video game magazines don't really exist anymore, and all we're left with is, like, Game Informer. But, like I said on the previous question, like, I used to buy all the PlayStation RPGs, and just, like, that era of gaming is where my nostalgia really starts. I have a little bit of nostalgia for, like, Super Nintendo, and I remember my cousins Indian gave me their Nintendo back when Super Nintendo came out, but ended up taking that back after like a month. So I didn't really have a Nintendo for very long as a kid. I think we did actually, I think my grandmother got me a Nintendo at a garage sale though, but I ended up trading that for Magic cards at some point. Gotta feed that addiction, I guess. Also in that era, that was when I was playing a lot of N64 games at my friend's house. That was definitely an era where I realized how bad at games I was, because we'd be playing, you know, Diddy Kong Racing, Mario Kart 64, GoldenEye, and I just never win. Next question, what is your best find/deal? Value-wise, I'd easily say Secret of Mana, which I picked up recently in, like, episode 68. Paid, it was either $5 or $2.50, like, or like $3. I can't remember. It is 100% complete, and I've played it a little bit, and when I booted it up, no one has ever played the game. There were no save files on it, so I'm pretty sure someone, like, just took the plastic off this and just never got around to it. It is in pristine condition, and I'm just not that big of a fan of this game. Like, I don't have any nostalgia for it, and I don't really see why other people do. If, like, given I haven't tried playing it with a friend, but I'm just not that into it. Like, I liked my JRPGs a little bit more story-driven than combat-driven, but I just don't really give a shit about the story in this. Other good deals I've had, definitely my Sega Saturn deal that I got at Game Exchange back on Black Friday last year. Definitely caught them slipping, and I really haven't found any great deals from them since. I guess you could call it a great deal. I bought Suikoden 2 on launch day for $40. Now it's like a $120 game, so I don't know if you could really call that a deal. I just bought it when it came out. My definite favorite find, I know that's not really the question here, but last year I had a tag sale of my own to kind of get rid of all the extra stuff and like the bulk games that last year I used to buy everything basically. If there were games at a tag sale, I'd buy them all. Definitely become a lot more selective, so I had a lot of bulk games, so I did my own tag sale last year. I definitely made like $200, almost $300, I think. It was pretty cool. I might have another one this year near the end of the season, maybe on like a day where it really looks shitty. I don't know. But anyway, at that sale, since we were going through a whole bunch of boxes, there was like boxes of Magic cards that I hadn't gone through in years. I found a case that contained all my old Game Boy games, which contained all the old Pokemon games for Game Boy and Game Boy Color, which I thought was gone forever. There would be multiple times where I'd search this house from top to bottom looking for that case, and I can never find it. So that was probably the find that I would consider my favorite, because I didn't have to rebuy any of those games. Those are all my old games. They all still save. They have my Pokemon on them. Definitely my favorite find. Alright, last two questions come from Toxic Pretender. He asked these on 2 separate videos, and once again, very happy that you guys asked multiple questions, just because, given this video is running long because I ramble, but, his first question, or his second question actually, but I'm answering them in this order. How did you and Alicia meet? Quick answer, OkCupid. And the last question, what is your favorite part about making videos for YouTube? I feel like that's a really good question to end on. I'm going to tell a story here. I started out on YouTube. Now, I know most of my content is video game related. I started out on YouTube because of one man. I'll link his channel in the below. You should check him out. C. Sandreas, Chris Sanders. Very inspirational to me as far as starting YouTube, because I see a lot of myself in him. He is a very real person. He definitely keeps it real with you. Loves Pokemon, but talks a lot about life stuff. Has a series, Nerd Motivation, stuff like that. And he's really hilarious, and I always kind of, like back when I always had the idea that I was going to start YouTube and kind of start doing the same thing as him. And then I kind of came across Scott Swatch's channel, JHMDF, watching Video Game Sellers, eventually the Game Chasers, and my kind of idea for my channel shifted focus. But that was always my original intent, and what I'm getting at here is the possibilities on YouTube are endless. And that's also another reason why I have my own name as the my channel name, because realistically, I can do anything on YouTube. I can make a video about cooking dinner, cooking breakfast. I can make a video about video games. I can make a video about the weather. You know, the possibilities on YouTube are endless. Another thing about YouTube that really kind of like amazes me is there's a channel, very popular, you might have heard of it, owned by Philip DeFranco, or run by Philip DeFranco, SourceFed. Like, the idea that there is a company that makes YouTube videos, like that's their main purpose, making YouTube videos, reporting the news, providing entertainment. Philip DeFranco, very popular on YouTube, you've definitely heard of him probably. The idea that he owns this company and is able to employ tens of 20s of, 30, I don't even know how many employees he has, based on YouTube revenue and based on advertising. Like, that's just insane to me. Like, that we're at that point where YouTube is that big. Now, I don't even monetize my videos because I love having good music in them, and I don't want to deal with like copyright strikes and shit like that. I've always kind of been an introverted person. In high school, I didn't really talk that much. I didn't really like many people outside of my friends in high school. and I was always kind of bullied a little bit. Like, it was like a weird thing. Like, you see people bullied in, like, movies and shit. I was only verbally bullied because I think everybody knew. You all knew if someone was going to be able to whoop your ass in high school. I think everybody knew that I was going to whoop their ass if anything ever escalated in high school. Why I enjoy making YouTube videos, I'm finally feeling, like, comfortable in my own skin, if that makes any sense to you. Like, it makes me, like I'm comfortable in front of a camera. I feel like I would be able to get up on a stage and talk to people. Like, I'd be able to do a presentation if I needed to. I wouldn't have any problems doing that, because I'm talking to at least 300 people right now. Or theoretically, 300 people right now. And it's just like, I feel like I'm a better version of myself as a YouTuber, being more comfortable talking to people. I'd actually say if you have problems talking to people, maybe try making YouTube videos, even if it's about whatever, you know. So I'm actually kind of losing my voice now. I guess it's a good thing I only had 7 questions to answer. So please like, comment, subscribe. If you want, you could leave more questions. I might be doing another question and answer video, because I did have a lot of fun doing this one. As I said in the last weekend adventure in video game hunting, there won't be another episode this weekend, but I will be going out game hunting this weekend. I will just be taking the time during the week to edit that, so you have a better product. And then after that, it should be on track every week. It's just you'll be seeing my last week's finds. I know a few people do that on YouTube. I know CJR does that. Actually, I think a lot of people do that. I can't imagine that Bithead 1000 is able to edit 50-minute videos like that same weekend that he picks up all that stuff. So I'm assuming a lot of people do that, and I'm just finally catching up to what I should have been doing a long time ago. So as I said, like, comment, subscribe, and as always, keep it real, internet.